So the rumored Nintendo Direct is happening tomorrow. It's going to take place 2 p.m. Pacific, and then that's 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And we assume this is going to be one of the bigger directs, right, guys? Because it's been, 150-something days, and they have to mostly outline a good chunk of 2019, like, tomorrow. So they have to get us kind of set up, release dates, probably some new announcements. So I went ahead and grabbed OJ from Player Essence. And I have Nate Direct Feed, who, since we're on Discord, he has a big yellow icon there, which I guess I'll put the Direct Feed logo over that.
So or a picture of Nate Drake.
Oh yeah, I could do Nate Drake. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Well, we'll do that actually. We'll put Nate. We'll put Nathan up there. So we have a couple things to go over here. We're going to do some predictions. We're going to talk about some release dates, and we're going to talk about a couple of long shot predictions as well, just for fun, to see if we can just get anything crazy right here. But before we start, there's only one thing that I think we all assume is going to be here, and then the rest that we kind of talk about that has been announced is speculation, right, guys? So we're not leaking anything. We're not talking about anything crazy. Yeah, I know that gets assumed at times. We're just gonna talk about some stuff that we hope could be there and we think might be there, but this is all speculation. So the one that I will say that I think we all assume is going to be there, well, I hope it's going to be there because we can get let off the hook, is Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Months in the making, huh?
Yes, it wasn't at the Game Awards, and we had to kind of sit and wait for a bit. I do think it's going to be there. I don't know if, everyone else seems to think so as well. That kind of was like at the Game Awards. The reason we thought it was going to be there is because there was a lot of rumor and word going around that it was basically done, and we assumed maybe that would have been a cool drop in front of the US, but they went with Joker instead, and that was still cool. So, anyone think anything otherwise with the Prime Trilogy?
No, I definitely think it's going to be there. But I do want to say, I wanted to know you guys' thoughts before we move on to the next thing with Metroid Prime Trilogy. Do you guys think it's going to be, how much of a hands-on, remaster or, update is this going to be? You think it's just going to be just a normal smoothing, or are they actually going to go kind of a little bit more in depth with it? If this does, if they do show it off. What do you guys think about that?
That's a good question. I do think that they will, they have to, I assume, add in regular controls for handheld mode. So maybe they actually spent some time with it and played around with the controls so that when you're walking around in handheld mode, or you can use a pro controller, you don't have to worry about the, just the aiming controls with 3. They would have had to have moved those around, I assume. They can still keep them, but I guess that would have had to have been fixed. I wonder if they would add dual analog support to the first one and second one for that as well. Would that have been a thing, I guess, too?
Well, there's never been dual analog support in that sort of game. At least normally. I guess maybe if you do emulator, you can do it or something like that.
That's not wondering if they would have retooled that while they were in there, kind of retooling 3 to work with the Switch and handheld mode. I assume. I'm also curious if they clean it up and basically upscale everything to 1080, smooth everything out even further, because the Switch can take care of all of that. So I hope that we see a Metroid Prime that looks better than ever. And yeah. I assume that's going to happen. And then I'm also curious if, I guess they're going to fit everything onto one cartridge as well.
Yeah, definitely. It should be just a one cartridge type of deal.
What do you think, Nate? You think it's just going to be a retooled, better looking Metroid Prime, basically upscaled, obviously with the same assets, basically from the GameCube and everything, or I guess from the one we had, of course, on the Wii and the Wii U?
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting just like a Twilight Princess HD situation that the Wii U had. Slightly up-res textures, overall better resolution, better performance, and normal controls. But I also want the option of gyro controls.
Yeah,
because the motion controls of Metroid Prime 3 or even Metroid Trilogy for the Wii, those controls were pretty awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, like that, and then of course we had the pointer controls with Resident Evil 4. It all worked out really well. Options would be good for that, definitely. But I think that's getting announced. We're going to talk about release dates a little later. Any predictions on release date just for this one, since we're all pretty confident it's going to be there?
I'm thinking maybe June or July. I'm thinking, late June, July, sometime in the mid Q2, Q3 type of range. So I would guess.
Yeah, I'd go a little later. I'm going to say August to match around the time when Metroid Prime 3 came out, because I think that was a late August release. So I could see a late summer.
Okay.
Just as a late drop to avoid any late summer droughts.
It's not a bad idea. Summer makes sense. I'll go a little earlier just to kind of round it out. I'll say in May. just to round it out there. It'd be interesting if they dropped that in April, but I think because they have to give retailers enough time to show it off, take pre-orders, and put it on shelves. Yeah, they definitely wouldn't go super early, I guess, with it. So we're starting up the Direct. What do you guys think the first game is that they show? Any ideas around what they drop in with? Because some of the previous ones, we had Luigi's Mansion get announced, the new one, and then we've also had Daemon X Machina get announced as well. Both like to start the Direct off.
I think they're going to start it off maybe with something that we already know. So like maybe like an Animal Crossing.
Oh, Animal Crossing would be good. They could start with that.
Like start off with that and then kind of transition. But I mean, if I'm picking, it'd be tough because they might have like a new IP, that they show off. Like remember like the E3 Direct?
Yes.
Bam, Daemon X Machina, first thing that they showed off. So
you can't guess that. You can't guess it.
Yeah, it's hard to guess what exactly they're gonna. Nintendo's like unpredictable.
Like
but I would guess like
if we went back and I was like, they're gonna start this Direct with the people who made Armored Core are gonna announce a new IP. People are like, what? Really?
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, I'm guessing some people will think, oh, well, they're gonna start off with 3DS, but I'm guessing there won't be any 3DS here.
They didn't mention it, so I would like to assume that they're kind of moving on from that right now, unless they want to really just really hurt us and say Mother 3 is available, but only on the 3DS.
Oh, that would just be that would be the biggest. Like that would be Bill Trin troll. That's like a Trin troll on that one. Man.
We'll touch on Mother 3 after this prediction. But any ideas? I do think because of what happened with Prime 4 and everything that they have. I think they have Prime Trilogy lined up as the first announcement. That's what we're going to start with. That's my thought, is like they're gonna give us that right away, and they're gonna just transition over to one of their presenters, or even Furukawa, just like here we are. So any thoughts, Nate, about what they could start with?
I was actually thinking they would open with something like Mario Maker 2 if it is to be at the Direct.
Sure. We should mention that very quickly. Zell got this date correctly. Yeah. He also named a bunch of games, but he did specifically say the only one that he thinks is going to be at this Direct is Metroid Prime Trilogy. The other ones he just knows are 2019 bound, essentially. But go on, Nate.
Yeah, so I was thinking you open it with like Mario Maker 2. You date that if it's coming out, before, the holiday season. Even if it is a holiday release, you can still show it and just throw Holiday 2019 on it. And then that kind of sets the flow for the Direct moving forward. But I also think it could just be Fire Emblem, because that was the one game they named in the tweet. They said 35 minutes and more on Fire Emblem. So I think it's going to come down to those two games that's going to really open the Direct.
I mean, yeah, if you open up Fire Emblem, that'd be really cool to see. Just like kick it off right there. It was just interesting when they opened with Luigi's Mansion last time. That was a pretty cool, just to get things off and running real quick. But, I mean, Fire Emblem's a good one to open with, absolutely. Again, they could also just open with a game that we're not even thinking of, a new IP, or who knows.
I'm thinking because they said Fire Emblem in particular, and if you guys know, Intelligent Systems, they're, of course, it's a subsidiary of Nintendo, and they do things a little bit differently, right? Like their DLC practices are kind of like third-party developers, in the industry. They do really weird things. They do crazy limited editions, you can get all 3 games on one cartridge, and look at this special edition Fire Emblem 3DS. Oh, there's going to be none of them around, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be kind of expensive, yeah.
yeah, they kind of do these type of things. So I'm thinking that they're going to have some type of special hardware or some type of, thing that they're going to package in with this, so like a special edition or something that they're going to show off as part of the Fire Emblem block of what they do.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So we have a couple different thoughts on the first game that could be shown there. And we'll see what they start with right away. See if any of us got it right. But first party predictions, we'll start with there. We'll go into third party and everything after this. So there's a lot of games to of course have release dates, but we'll get to the release dates as well later. Let's just start with some of the first party predictions because there's a lot of stuff thrown around. You just mentioned Mario Maker 2, Nate. There was, of course, Pikmin 3 as a Wii U port that was named. There's apparently a 2D Zelda that's named. And then, of course, Retro Studios. So do you think any of these are showing up in the first party section of this Direct? And is there any that you might think might show up outside of that?
Retro, I think we finally see Star Fox Grand Prix.
Ooh, do you think they close the Direct with that, or you think they have that somewhere in the middle?
I think that's a good follow-up to the first game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I almost thought that if they have the 2D Zelda ready to go, that might be a way to end the Direct, because usually they want to end it with something big, or maybe they just end it with Fire Emblem as their last thing. but I thought Retro Studios, if it's that good and it looks really, really good and it's Star Fox and it's racing and everything, or even if it's like is something weird like Star Fox Cross F-Zero or something, that would be a cool way to end it with like Fox and like Captain Falcon next to each other at the end. But if you end it with something like a Fire Emblem, that wouldn't be bad either. But you're thinking that could be somewhere in the beginning, even after like one of the announcements.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I think Nintendo is aware people want to see what Retro Studios has been up to for the last 5 years, and you want to get that out as early as you can in the Direct, so people can get excited, but it also doesn't overshadow everything. Because if you put it at the end, some of the smaller scale announcements that took place before it might be forgotten because you ended on such a high note.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really cool to finally see Retro actually have something announced, because they've moved on to Metroid, so we assume they're probably wrapped with Star Fox, and maybe there's just some bug testing and some other stuff going on right now. So that'll be pretty cool. What about that Zelda? Anything about that, or you think that might just not be here? It might be an E3 thing, because they have to save some stuff for E3, we assume.
Yeah, I think Zelda's a better E3 candidate type of game. I don't think you don't need it now, especially if it's not coming out till later in the year. You can hold off on it, especially if you're going to have things like Mario Maker 2, maybe the Star Fox game. You don't want to overload people with the first Direct of the year, because you do have to space some of the stuff out.
Anything on those first party predictions there, OJ? Out of some of the stuff we've been kind of going over, something we're missing right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. And I'm thinking, like, are we also counting like Wii U games too that potentially could come over, or just what you just talked about?
Yeah,
here?
let's go into. I mean, yeah, anything first party, man. You want to do some Wii U ports? We can do some Wii U ports.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's going to be something. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm thinking there's going to be some. I mean, if it's a Xenoblade Chronicles X, or if it's like some type of port, or like a Wonderful 101, maybe something kind of comes up from there. There's still a few more Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking some type of Wii U port, because we pretty much got them every single year. So
yeah, I'd be on board. I'd be on board with some Xenoblade Chronicles X. That'd be really cool to see come over.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's what everyone's been asking for. Like, and I know that the developers already talked about it. So, I mean, I don't know if Nintendo's going to have that already. I mean, that could be something that's later, or maybe not even at all. But I also think that, I mean, what's the chances that maybe we get like a new IP, or like something we haven't seen in a while, like a Golden Sun, or like a Strikers coming back, or a Sluggers, or something like that. You guys think that there's any possibility of something like Golden Sun, or like Kid Icarus? Or
I think one of their sports games would make sense, because we had tennis. People have been asking about like a golf or a baseball, but I think Mario Strikers would be awesome, because it's like that soccer, or football type game, where that would actually appeal to people out in Europe as well, right? So, and it's a great game. Like, well, they made it bad with the Wii, but the GameCube one is awesome. So if they kind of go back to those roots and bring Strikers, I think Strikers would probably be the best selling out of a basketball or a baseball, mostly just because of like soccer's like worldwide appeal. And Strikers just fun. Throw some online in there and everything. Oh, that'd be a great time. That would work well for like the single Joy-Con play. It would make a ton of sense, and that would be cool. I think a sports game from them would be great. I know people want Mario Golf, and they could do that, but I think after tennis, let's go to Mario Strikers. I'd be on board with that.
I think it's time for Strikers, because they did golf on the 3DS, which it's still good. It looks and it plays good, but
they did it on the Wii U too, right?
No golf on the Wii U.
Okay.
Everyone said that it should be on the Wii U.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did tennis. They did tennis on the Wii U, and it wasn't great.
No, you couldn't even play against your friends.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What is this? Crackdown 3? Yeah.
John with the burn. You sounding like me right now.
Yeah. No, I talked about that earlier this morning and everything else. Nice. So,
wow,
man. Yeah, so I think that'd be cool for Strikers. I'd be on board with the Strikers. That'd be a cool little throw out there and be like, hey, Mario Strikers. So we think Mario Maker 2 could be here, but maybe Zelda for E3 is what we were saying, right, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, that's my expectation. I don't think you're going to come into a Direct in February with Metroid, Mario, Zelda, Star Fox, maybe new IP, maybe a bring back of like Strikers or sports games that you guys were saying. That just seems that's bigger than some of their E3s in previous years. It just seems way too much.
But wasn't their September Direct bigger than their E3?
Well, everything's bigger than their E3. They only do like 2 games.
Well, I mean, real quick though. I mean, I want to get you guys' honest opinion between Nate and John. You guys think that there's any chance that there is like one of the other type of like? Is there any chance that we see a Golden Sun or Kid Icarus at this?
I think Kid Icarus is more likely than Golden Sun.
Okay,
I'll go with that.
I don't think we see either like franchises of that caliber. I think we might see something like the smaller digital things that they've done in the past, like Pushmo or Box Boy. I could see something like that appearing here because they kind of back in what was it 2017 with the Box Boy series, they said like to be continued. And I mean, how long can it take to make a Box Boy game?
Ooh, or maybe like a Snipper Clips 2, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think we see
sense.
something like their little indie, type of development, one of those like their experimental IP. I think we could see one or two of those show up during this direct as just almost like as a shadow drop.
Or what about like an eShop Wave Race or something like that? Like a really,
that'd be kind of cool.
Race. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool. So we're all pretty confident. All right, here's the other thing I want to bring up before we move on from here. One, does Joker get a release date?
I'm thinking Joker's gonna be there. I'm thinking I predicted that he was gonna be there on my video, but like I don't know. But like, I'm hoping. I'm more hoping than thinking.
Joker available now. Go get him.
No, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Although I'm thinking that if Joker was, let's just say he was there, I'm thinking that he'd probably be released around the anniversary of Persona 5, the 2-year anniversary of the game. So
I mean, can they in the West? They have to. I assume they're going to want to get on to the next DLC character after they release him, right? Because they have 5 characters to eventually release. Joker being the first one. So I assume they want to eventually get on to the next one as well after announcing Joker. So maybe I guess he'd be released because we've heard that people have been he's been tested and everything, and it sounds like he's pretty good. I think OJ is what I heard you say at one point.
Yeah. From some rumblings that he's like a DLC kid. He's looking and playing pretty good. So
cool. Okay,
Sakurai is a genius for this type of like he can see a character and know exactly how I'm gonna put this character in there. You know what I'm saying? So
cool. Okay, sounds good. So we'll see if because people are asking if we'll get another DLC character announced. I don't know if they would do that there. It might be E3 because they want to get. I'm sure they want to get Joker out before they take the spotlight and put it on another character. So I don't know if they would do that yet. I guess the last thing is we assume Retro Studios project's getting revealed. Are we all pretty confident in Star Fox, or do you think they red herringed us and it might be something different?
I'm fully on board with the Star Fox idea.
Okay.
Yeah, this is turning into a Mario plus Rabbit situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah, I think it's happening. But you guys remember what I'm talking about, right? With the whole Mario.
We've only heard like this much about it. Is there any possibility that they actually did mix the F-Zero Star Fox universe in it?
You know what? You can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone if you do that. Like if it's so, I mean that'd be cool.
I'm getting a little out there right now, but I was just curious what you guys thought of the idea of the reveal being yes, Retro Studios is working on a Star Fox game and an F-Zero game combined.
Nate, no, say something, Nate.
That just sounds too wild for me. Captain Falcon racing against Falco. There's just too many Falcon sounds going on right there.
It'd be too much fun, is what you're saying.
Dude, I'd be like for like a Diddy Kong racing style of game with freaking F-Zero characters in there mixed in with like Star Fox, like, and you have the planes and you have the Blue Falcon. Oh, dude, that would be crazy.
But then you need Samus in there with her ship.
I'm just saying they had like people they're hiring for kind of the narration and like storyboarding, and like we saw those big hires where they were bringing people in, so people figured there was some sort of serious story being written up. I mean, just saying, you want to combine, F-Zero and Star Fox, you could do it.
Well, I mean, all the Star Fox games have a pretty, I mean, obviously they're not the best stories out there, but they seem like they at least try with the stories, like there's a lot of interaction, a lot of talking, there's a lot of lore and backstory with Star Fox. And same goes for F-Zero. A lot of people don't know this, but F-Zero has a great lore and backstory, but just Nintendo never does anything. There's just been that anime, but you can read about all the backstory and lore, you know, if you play the F-Zero games and like what's going on. Like there's bounty hunters and there's like you know, villains and there's all sorts of cool characters in F-Zero, you know?
And they've already technically mixed them because at the end of Star Fox they talked about them racing. So
yeah, the end of Star Fox Command, they're like, we retired from Team Fox and decided to become fast speed racers. It's like,
hey man,
what?
Hey man, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the theories behind those two universes being mixed. There's some cool videos online about that. To go check out. But I just want to see this project because I know Retro Studios is very good about getting a lot out of any hardware they work on, whether it's the Wii, the GameCube. I want to see what they do with that Switch. So I'm interested, definitely.
Absolutely. They never really got a chance to really work on the Wii U, so to see what they can do there. I mean, Donkey Kong was good, right? I mean, but like to really actually do something with a little bit of a different art style and kind of to kind of push it a little bit more, you know.
Sure. Oh yeah. Let's I'm ready to see what they can do. I guess real quick, you kind of already mentioned this, OJ, any special hardware shown? We assume that there'll be like a special edition Fire Emblem system of some kind shown, maybe some Joy-Cons on the side that you can buy.
I'm just predicting like a bundle with Fire Emblem, a special edition bundle with Fire Emblem. Maybe we get a special edition of a different game. Maybe there's like even like a Crystal Chronicles. I'm thinking maybe there's like a special edition or something like that, like to commemorate the original GameCube release. I don't know how many years it's been since the GameCube release, but maybe they do something like that too.
Yeah.
I know Crystal Chronicles or a third-party game.
I know, you know, people are going to ask, oh, that Wii Mini, everything, or the Switch Mini. I'm sorry, I don't think there's any chance of that being here. I think that would be like a end of the year or like second half of the year announcement. Yeah. If they're going to do any new hardware, it'd probably be a special edition, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So, any different thoughts on that, Nate?
I think if they do Mario Maker 2, I think they introduce like a Mario Maker stylus of some kind.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense because you got to buy it separately to. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even a Mario Maker bundle with like the Switch hardware with some, you know, like Mario blocks on the dock or something.
That's a good point. Yeah. I guess you would need like a little stylus to kind of control. Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, you could use your finger, but, you know, stylus for more precision.
Maybe it would come with the game. Like it's just like an add-on with the game. Like you get a little stylus with the game when you buy it.
Yeah, that's true. It could, if it's a limited edition of the game, and then you just have a regular version that doesn't come with it, and then for $79.99, you get one with a stylus and an art book or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can see that. Let's go over to third-party announcements. There's some stuff that's leaked. Of course, Assassin's Creed 3 seems all but obvious on the Switch at this point. Ubisoft pretty much put it on their own website. Activision did the same thing with the Spyro collection. I actually expect both of those to be in this direct. I don't know if you guys think it's coming later, like an E3 reveal, but Assassin's Creed's out in March, so I assume it's getting shown here in some capacity. Spyro, we've known for a while, is coming to the Switch, and I assume it's being shown here as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on those ones. I'm not sure who did the ports for those, like, or if it was just done in-house. But I'm also thinking that maybe we see like a panic button game, like maybe like one panic button game, something else. I'm not really sure what it would be, but maybe we get a panic button game as well.
They do tend to do the unthinkable, so I mean, I would have said before, Doom Eternal, but that's already coming. So there you go. I would say Mortal Kombat 11. That's already on the way too. That's a good point. I don't know what would be really big for Panic Button to get called in for.
Can anybody think of some big like 2016 or 2017 PS4 Xbox One games that maybe they could have done? I'm not sure. Maybe like I was thinking maybe like a Borderlands or something like that. Maybe they bring over Borderlands 2 or
the problem we run into is because we look at a lot of these bigger games, like you look at a Nier, right? That's one people talk about. You saw people were talking about Witcher 3 for like a day or two. The problem we run into is these cart sizes and trying to fit these really big games on there. Like Nier is like 50 gigabytes, I think. I think The Witcher is like 70 gigabytes with all the stuff. So we're trying to figure out how they would be able to shrink some of these games down. And I would like to be like, oh yeah, Nier's going to be there and Panic Button's handling it, but I don't know if that would work that well with them. I almost want to say Code Vein would get revealed there too for the Switch.
Yeah, Code Vein. That's another one. That's definitely another one that I'm thinking about. I mean, maybe some more like so Bandai Namco stuff, right? I mean, maybe they There's some stuff from Bandai Namco that's
Project
it's
Z,
announced.
man. Get that Dragon Ball Z game on there.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll be as soon. I mean, maybe they announced some of the games from last year that were announced, and they bring over some of those. I mean, I know what was it? Jump Force just came out. I don't know if they'll have an announcement already for that, but I'm thinking some Bandai Namco stuff, maybe some Koei Tech. Well, Koei Tecmo already brings over all their games.
What about what about Shin Megami?
We have to. Yeah, you know what? Maybe they talk about Shin Megami Tensei 5. But I'm not really sure that game's been kind of. I know they've been working hard on it, so we'll see that. We'll see about that.
I think that might be a 2019 release. That would actually make some sense to get it in there.
Let me ask you guys a question though. Any chance of maybe people have talked about this all the time? Persona 5 port getting announced here.
I don't see a Persona 5 port getting announced for Switch at this direct. I think Atlas would control the fate of that game, and it would wait till their March event.
That's what I'm thinking too. I think it'd be in their March event if they do it. Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense. Yeah. And then they, of course, if it's not out by E3, they would probably show it off again at E3 for something, you know.
Another thing for third parties. So with what was it? The Etrian Odyssey team. They said that the last one, they're done. They're moving on. A lot of speculation on a new Etrian Odyssey game. So maybe the first look at Etrian Odyssey for Switch.
Yeah. I mean that's tough. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the games that Nintendo would want to put in here. Like, I'd like to say Secret of Mana Collection would be in here, but I don't even know if Nintendo would bother to put this in because it's a localization effort. So I'm trying to think of, like, I guess just Japan-centric games Japanese-centric games they put in here, because they only have 35 minutes, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, Etrian Odyssey would be interesting because I think obviously people would get excited for it, but I'm trying to think if that might be something that they would just announce through a press release or like on Twitter or even one of their live streams or something they would do.
Mm-hmm. Or there's even like the Secret of Mana remake that some people love and some people hate. I mean, maybe that gets like kind of just thrown in like a B-roll footage or something like that.
And then we have, of course, Square. We assume Square is going to have some presence there, mostly because they're announcing they've announced all the Final Fantasy games basically, other than 8. And then, of course, there's always a possibility that they go back and grab some of the older Kingdom Hearts and move them up. Like, we kind of expected them to drop that on the Xbox before 3, but they gave them 3 first. Just because, I guess. So, I mean, if they go back and grab the old Kingdom Hearts games to drop them on the Switch, that would actually be kind of cool. And then we've kind of talked about this before. We think there could be a shadow drop here, right?
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII has to drop either on Thursday or immediately after the Direct.
I think that's a good shadow drop, absolutely, because we already know it's digital only. They're not going to put it in stores unless Limited Run wanted to pick it up or something. But that would be a great shadow drop to be like, hey, Final Fantasy VII available now. I think I think is a good one. Do
you think they do 7 and 9?
I think they just do 7 right now.
I think maybe they want to stagger those releases. What would that be out now? So then
I think you do
maybe
7
March?
now.
9, right? In March, maybe?
I guess you could do 9 in March, because then you would have 7 February, 9 March, 10, 10-2, and 12 in April.
Yes.
So I could even see them hold off 9 until May just to give a little space between them.
Okay.
But
okay, yeah. What do you think what's the price on that, you think?
$20.
$20? Okay.
15 to 20 for the game.
That's a great shadow drop. People would go nuts for that. So I think Square already knows that. I think that's gonna be ready. Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know. I'm thinking that if they drop both of them, they can get people just to buy both of them right then and there. If I don't know if you wait till after. I mean, people. That's already Final Fantasy 12 and 10-2. Maybe you're like, oh, I already got these games. But I guess Final Fantasy 9 has a really big, it has a really hardcore audience. There are people that will still say that this Final Fantasy 9 is the greatest Final Fantasy game ever made. So.
Now, if you release both of them, do you do what they did with Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition? Buy both, get like 30% off the other one?
I mean, I would.
Like a bundle. Yeah,
that would entice people. I mean, I would buy both. If they wait till May, I'm not sure if I'll buy 9. I mean, I probably would, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not sure, just because 10-2 and also 10 and 10-2 in addition to 12 are coming out in April. It's like, yo, those are 12 is really
12's like 100 plus hours. Yeah, that's a great game. Yeah, I had that on the PS4 and that's a long game.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the Zodiac Ages, there's a lot of great content. That game's really good. So, I mean, like, it's just, I don't think Square Enix is really worried about it when they drop it. I just think that, I mean, well, maybe they are worried about it a little bit, but I mean, either way is fine. I'm probably just gonna buy all of them, so it doesn't matter.
Cool. Let's jump to our long shot prediction for the direct, because I have one that I think is kind of interesting. I'll hear your thoughts on it. I talked to you a little bit about it, Nate, as well. The long shot prediction is one that we might not happen, but it's one of those, like, we'll just take a shot at it and see, just in case you get lucky with something, a guess. I am gonna say that I think the long shot prediction is Apex Legends is announced and then dropped tomorrow. For the Switch.
I think that's the same reaction we have. We're just that's definitely a long shot. Yeah, that's definitely a long. Yeah. You know what? But good old Doc Trey. He's uncovered some stuff. So maybe that might happen. That might happen. It's a long shot, but it might happen.
There you go. There you go.
I want to hear it. I want to hear Nate's though.
He's gonna say something. He's gonna say something like that's like not even gonna
never
happen.
Overhypes. So
I'm gonna be great. My long shot prediction is Rockstar brings Red Dead Revolver.
You should have said just GTA 5. Just go with GTA 5 again.
That's not a long shot. People keep it. Yeah.
Remastered? Is it a remastered version of Red Dead Revolver?
Yep, a remastered version of Red Dead Revolver.
That's actually hype if they do like actual effort put into it, because there's never been a remaster of Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, right? I mean, PS4 and Xbox One, they have Red Dead Redemption 2, so the Switch gets Red Dead Revolver because nobody even remembers that game was a Rockstar game or that it even came out.
I like Red Dead Revolver. I played it, beat it. I like it. It's really I really do like Red Dead Revolver. So yeah, I'd be down for that. I mean, but I guess it would come to everything then. Red Dead Revolver remake or remastered or something.
Yeah, come to everything, but be that first announcement would be at the direct.
Okay. Cool. What about you, OJ? Any ideas? Any thoughts?
This is the super long shot.
All right,
this is super long shot. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with Kid Icarus, Sakurai. They announce it.
Okay.
Kid Icarus, Sakurai. They announce it. Completely brand new game. And that they're going to be doing it. They're just going to be doing it. And I don't know. Obviously, it's a long shot, but I know Sakurai loved working on Kid Icarus. He's finished with Smash. This is the DLC. You know what I'm saying? So he has a lot more time on his hands. So I'm thinking the long shot prediction would be Kid Icarus is coming. Okay. Kid Icarus Uprising 2, to be exact.
Cool. Okay, I'd be interested in that. You think that'd be one that they would that'd be like a 2020 release? They would just be kind of planting the seed now to show it.
Yeah. I think it would probably be a next year release, and it would be the best game ever made. I love Kid Icarus. It'd be one of my favorite. I love Kid Icarus Uprising. The only problem with that game is the controls. If that game had normal controls, it's honestly one of the best games ever. If it had the controls are just really tough. But if you can get past it, Kid Icarus Uprising is still to this day very playable, very good. Very good. Let
me go over to release dates. We're just going to rifle through a few of them and then finish up with some of the online stuff for the Nintendo service. When do we think Animal Crossing? You just give a month. When do you think Animal Crossing's coming out?
November.
Okay.
October, November-ish. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's about what I was thinking. I was thinking they might drop it in October because I feel like Pokemon is going to be November, but we'll get to that. I'm going to pretend that Bayonetta 3 is coming out this year. Technically, we'll probably hear more about it, I guess, at this direct. When do you think Bayonetta 3 would be releasing this year if it was coming out this year?
September,
because that's what the original release was in Japan for Bayonetta 2. So that's the only reason why I think it's September, and then we got a little bit later after.
Okay, I'm actually going to put that one in December only because we're going to be running out of room here soon. But I'm just gonna go the other way. I'm going to say December, just to put it somewhere. Right. Daemon X Machina.
July.
I'm going to go with maybe. I want to say April, but I don't know. April or I'm going to steal Nate's July. April or July or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to. That one's tough because I feel like they want to get that out before E3. Just because they showed it at last E3. I'm going to drop.
Gamescom.
I'm going to drop that one in May. gonna drop that one in May.
And they had 2 live demos.
Yes,
by the way.
yeah, they've
And the
shown it a
second one was
lot.
and the second one was an updated build of the first one. So I mean, they're humming on that game.
They've played the entire game on stream. We didn't realize it.
And they revealed a lot of it. They're humming. That game looks ready, man.
Luigi's Mansion.
Late September, early October.
I want to put it in October so bad because Halloween's there, like that's where I want to put it. But like, I don't know, man. They've done some weird stuff with that franchise. Like, when did Dark Moon release? That was March. That was like March.
I'm gonna go with August for that one. I'm gonna go with maybe August-ish.
I'm gonna play it safe and put it in October, just so it's around like Halloween. But who knows? They'll put it in like springtime or something for all we know.
Valentine's Day. It's coming out Thursday.
Yeah. Pokemon 2019. I think Pokemon's gonna get its own thing like usual ahead of E3. So I don't know if they'll be showing it at this direct, maybe. But we'll just for fun. When do you think Pokemon 2019 is going to come out?
Late October, early November.
No, solid November for me, but right before Black Friday, like a week before Black Friday.
I was going to go mid-November, like second week in November, basically for that one. And then Fire Emblem.
Late May, early June.
May. I'm going for a May release, and it's going to be Game of the Year.
Yeah, I think early May is good. I'd like to think that's early May, and then Daemon X Machina is like one of the last days in May, like heading into E3, early June. But I think Fire Emblem is going to be front and center because it's like the next real big game from Nintendo that's coming out, I think. So that'll be pretty cool. Cool. So we just filled out a pretty solid release here, and we didn't even talk about when Star Fox would even try to come out or any of the other games that they're probably going to show. So it's going to get interesting. Like, we didn't talk about where a 2D Zelda would fit in. Nothing. A Mario Maker. So they haven't been announced yet, so I didn't really talk about them. But like, it's going to be an interesting year. The Nintendo Online Service, we're going to finish up with this. We know Super Nintendo games are there. Do they drop those in this direct and say they're available now?
Nah, I don't think so.
I have to think they'd at least announce them at the minimum, and then say they'll be available at this day. I mean, but it'd be dope if they dropped it like a shadow drop. Like if you shadow drop the Super Nintendo games along with like Final Fantasy, that's pretty good. Yeah, there's got to be some type of shadow drops. There's got to be 1 or 2 at least. So
yeah, that'd be cool. I assume we know this online service is going to be changing in some way because they even talked about it at their investors Q&A where they're going to add more to it to keep people engaged with longer subscription amounts. So we assume they're doing something here. And we also heard that they were going to do possibly add more onto it for a possible premium enthusiast thing or something. But we know the Super Nintendo games are there, and it's either at this direct, a random press release, or at E3. I assume that they would drop them. So, I mean, I want them as soon as possible. So I'm just going to say they're at this direct, but it could be down the road for all we know, and they've just been laying the groundwork this whole time with what data miners have found. Do you think they talk about the service in any other way in this direct? Because if they did in this direct and they did do the Super Nintendo games, I assume they would also show off Super Nintendo controllers like those NES ones as well. But do you think they add anything else to their app or anything that I'm not even thinking about? Achievements?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nate.
I could see them doing, like, you're coming up to the 2-year anniversary of the Switch launch, so I could see them doing something as like a bonus to the consumers of the online service, like like they had the controllers for the NES games. So I could see them going a path like that, whether it's some deluxe version of an NES game or the Super Nintendo games. But I could see them doing something like that, but with their own weird Nintendo twist of maybe even like a coupon, like, oh, you've been a loyal customer for 2 years, you get 20% off a purchase.
Okay. Yeah, they did talk about like special offers and stuff for I assume that's not just the right to buy a Nintendo controller, so I assume there's some kind of special offer, in there. But
you have the right to give us more money.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So I guess the last question is Mother 3 at this direct.
Reggie,
we ask it every time, man. We ask it every time.
I'm done. It's a meme at this point. I can't answer without laughing. So I'm just gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no as well. Unfortunately, I don't think it's here. Unfortunately,
never.
Maybe never. E3. There's always E3.
Never.
Yeah, never. Nate's just saying never. Yeah, that's those are our predictions though going into the direct tomorrow. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I know OJ, you're gonna be covering it on your channel afterwards, giving your thoughts on it over at Player Essence. So you want to check out OJ's channel down below in the description. And then Nate, I assume you're gonna be doing some kind of video afterwards as well with your thoughts.
Potentially.
Okay. So you want to check out Nate's channel down below as well, Direct Feed Games. He did his first discussion video the other day, and people responded well to it, Nate. So I would maybe do a few more of those as you go along.
Yeah,
It was fantastic, Nate. I loved it.
There you go. Cool.
Listen to it when I was on the treadmill.
There you
go. Went right by. I was like, yo, this is great. You should do more.
Yeah.
One day, maybe tomorrow.
There you go.
One day, maybe tomorrow.
OJ, he did a whole thing when he was walking his dog.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
It was great. I don't know why people. I told a bunch of people in my Discord and everything. They're like, "Why doesn't he do more?" That's the question that everyone's saying.
Yeah, it was well received, except for the one guy who told me to shut up and never to speak again.
I mean, it's the internet, so
those are your biggest fans. Just to let you know about that, right? You know that, right? Those are your biggest fans.
So Tanner is my biggest fan.
Yeah, I mean, they think enough to show up, watch your video, and then comment.
Yeah,
that's true.
There you go. That's interaction, man. That's going to do it for our prediction video here. Make sure you guys like the video if you enjoyed this little rundown of what some of our thoughts on. Again, this was all speculation, except for Metroid Prime Trilogy, because I need that to happen. So let's hope that actually happens. Yes. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you next time. And make sure you check out the Direct tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.